Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of Valkyria Chronicles. We have a bunch of stuff to check out, so let's get on that. Personnel. Oh my goodness, maybe I'll do these in parts, because... oh man. So, Welkin. Oh, this isn't so bad. Lieutenant, age 22, son of the late EWI hero General Belgen Gunther and leader of Squad 7. While attending university, his focus lay in animal sociology. And wait, change outfit? I don't remember that from PS3. Is that DLC or something? Oh, okay, got it. Civilian and military. Okay. Alicia. While a team captain in the Bruletown Watch, she also worked as a live-in apprentice at the local bakery. There we go. Isara. 16. Squad 7 tank pilot, daughter of the late Darkson engineer, Professor Timer. She was adopted into the Gunther family as Welkin's sister. So there we go as well. Faldio. Tank commander and leader of Squad 1, an archaeology student at the same university as Welkin. His knowledge of history is considerable. Eleanor. Oh, she has outfit change? Oh, okay, that's in the office. 3rd Regiment Captain and direct superior to Welkin. She is one of the most feared yet respected officers in the Gallian military. Age 35, unmarried. Largo. 36, Squad 7 Lancer. Since his initial conscription during EW1, he has survived countless missions, making him the most experienced of the Sevens. Bridget Stark, or Rosie. Squad 7 Shock Trooper. Formerly a bartender and songstress, she still bears the nickname Rosie given to her by the bar-going regulars. Kreis. Age 20, a mechanic working in the militia's R&D facility. His primary responsibilities included weapons maintenance and repairs. Leon. A member of the militia's R&D team, his chief task lay in the development of new weapons. George von Damen. Born into a family with a long history of military service, he now commands the Central Gallian Force, including the militia. Martha. Nanny to the Gunther family, like her mother before her, she helped raise Welkin and Isara since birth, as well as 5 of her own children. I guess if we count the one that was born in the cutscene. A presence in the Gunther house since she herself was a child, Martha became a surrogate parent and source of assurance to the orphaned Welkin and Isara. The baby. Born inside the Edelweiss on the day Brule fell to the Empire, he's Martha's 5th child. Drill instructor. I love that. That's all you get. Chief drill instructor at the militia training grounds, his stern countenance and harsh words haunt the dreams of soldiers near and far. Belgen Gunther. His late father, Welkin's late father, widely regarded as a great hero for his contributions to preserving Gallia's independence during the First European War. I guess that's what EW1 is, European War 1. Timer. Isara's biological father and a gifted Darkson inventor who contributed much to furthering Gallian technology. He built the Edelweiss for his friend after EW1. Alex Raymond, so one of our people we recruited. His leap before you look brashness and flighty carefree nature have earned him the name Bird among his friends in the squad. There we go. Kobe, 65. Damn. A foreman for a carpentry company before he joined the militia, his bad back is the result of an injury suffered during EW1. Salinas. Handsome and smooth, he was always popular with the ladies. A bit of a Lothario, he's made many a beautiful woman cry. Hannes. Born in a richly wooded part of southern Gallia, he enlisted immediately upon hearing his hometown was in the path of danger. Micah? A warrior and a perfectionist, he lets even minor details get to him, making him tiresome company, but a skilled machinist. And by the way, you'll notice there's barely anything on the pages, but as the game progresses and we unlock more information for these guys, this will fill out. Vice. Together with Aika, he roams the globe, seeking adventure. Rumor has it he hails from a nation far removed from Europa's shores. Yeah, far from any shore, because he's from the sky. Wendy. Tinkering with explosives filled this shut-in's days until an overly ambitious portion of gunpowder blew her house to bits. Aisha. Age 12. She earned secondary military training credit at a record age, was permitted to enlist after expressing a strong will to fight. I mean, her ability checks out, but damn. Jane, a florist in Brule until the Imperial invasion destroyed her shop. Ever since, she has fostered a deep hatred for the Empire. Yeah, I could tell. Melville, full of more pep than even he knew what to do with, he enlisted. Friendly and upbeat, he is quick to befriend pretty much anyone. Ted, His greatest love was always making others laugh, and his clowning persisted after enlistment. He is highly allergic to most metals. Nancy. Her life on the family farm led her to grow up rather sheltered. She often enjoyed holing up in the stables with the animals. Ramona. Formerly a model for the popular Galleon Girl magazine, she lives her life devoted to fashion. Susie. As the daughter of a frontier tycoon, she knew precious little of the ways of the world, once naively paying 25 DCT, what is that, ducats? For a single apple. How much could a banana cost, Michael? $10? Or whatever they said, whatever that number was? Like $5? Frisia. Called Dancer of the Sands, she roamed the desert as an entertainer until the Empire's attack killed business, driving her to enlist. Juno. A classmate of Welkin's at university, she possesses both brains and beauty in spades, making her the object of many a boy's desires. Cherry. Trends and pretty boys form the center of her world, with Galleon Girl Weekly her preferred fix for top-notch photos of both. Aika. Childhood friend and co-conspirator with Vice. She came with him from a far-off land, half for adventure and half to keep him in line. Jan. Muscles send him to the moon, whether they be his own or those of the other gents of the squad. His little sneezes are just adorable. Nils. A denizen of the capital's seedy underbelly, his was a solitary life. He remained undefeated through countless turf wars. Damn. Theold. An impoverished childhood has driven home the importance of wealth for him, driving him to seek fame and fortune as a war hero. Walter Nash. Contrary to his gruff looks, his hobbies include cooking and tending the garden. His garden. He often joins Alicia in baking bread on his days off. Hector. The former head of the local watch in his home village. He showed a natural leadership that won the respect of all his soldiers. Rosina. A sort of older sister figure to many Sevens. Her teammates affectionately called her Lady Rose. She enjoys working out when off duty. Carl. He worked at a Fauzen ironworks until the incursion of Imperial Darksun hunters drove him to evacuate the capital. Homer. A sensitive soul dwells within the angelic exterior of this young boy who volunteered for service despite his frail constitution. Dallas. As the product of a girls' school for the well-off, she dreams of a life surrounded by flowers, and shuns the unrefined company of men. Ramsey. Her love for tinkering with machines saw her enroll in a technical university. There, she began working on developing new weapons. Nadine. A Darksun with a strong sense of responsibility and the wherewithal to fulfill it. She holds a master's degree in literature. Marina. An aloof beauty, she keeps all others at a distance. Her father, a skilled hunter, trained her in the art of marksmanship from childhood. Catherine. An EW1 veteran, she didn't hesitate to enlist again to fight for her people. She holds the bond of friendship above all else. Medic. I love this. Responsible for securing and treating Squad 7's wounded, she is well loved for her gentle touch and selfless dedication. More on that later. That's it? Okay. How do I... There, so there's even more than what we saw here. But yeah, we'll talk about the medic later. Weaponry. Gallia net gun. A standard rifle developed by Gallia's only arms manufacturer, the National Arsenal. Created during EW1, it was issued to Gallian soldiers and saw use in combat before the war's end. By minimizing changes made to the action of existing models, developers were able to save time in realizing their design while also allowing for a wide range of uses through further customization. Its name comes from its status as the first domestically designed rifle in the nation's history. ZM Car. Haha. Crafted by the Empire's top arms maker, Zechmeister, ZM Corp., this rifle is one of the factors that enabled the Imperial armies to sweep across Europa. Substantially lighter than conventional rifles, the ZM Car greatly improved unit mobility and won the thanks of those forced to carry them on their march. Its distinctive axe shape earned it the nickname Francisca among its users. Mags. EW1 saw a variety of firearms developed to suit a broad spectrum of needs. Among them, the machine gun's stopping power made it exceptionally popular among arms makers, both within Gallia and abroad. Though models of all shapes and sizes saw use in combat, the Mag's machine gun was especially prized on the front lines for its portability. Excelling in rapid-fire speed and ease, it exhibited unparalleled performance in the close quarters of trench and urban operations. The ZMMP. It boasts a degree of refinement so high it was lauded as Zechmeister's ultimate masterpiece. Excelling in firepower, accuracy, and portability, it represents the pinnacle of everything required of a machine gun. Further sweetening the deal is the high concentration of pressed parts, easily manufactured at low cost. With these guns in hand, Imperial forces crossed Europa unchecked by the Federation and other nations. Landcar Landsar. Gallia's most common anti-tank lance, developed as a way to allow foot soldiers to combat tanks unassisted. An armor-penetrating warhead is loaded into the lance's tip, then fired at the target, detonating on impact. Though its power and effectiveness are indisputable, its considerable weight impedes the mobility of the user. The weapon draws its name from its use as a lance-shaped anti-armor device. Lance-R. Alright. GSR has its origins as a rifle made for use on horseback, built with all the know-how amassed during Galleon S's development. Its defining feature is a variable zoom sniper scope. Built in an era of semi-automatic handguns, the fully manual bolt-action GSR was half obsolete by the time it hit the production lines, but its exceptional firing accuracy and brilliantly made safety saw it continue to see use until the very end of EW... I hope that's a Roman numeral for 2, because oh boy. B-type grenade. A wooden handle extends from the simple can-type explosive. Oh, can-type, yeah. Made from a powdered ragnite mix that emits a characteristic blue glow upon detonation. It uses a friction-based fuse system in which the user first removes the safety cap at the handle's end, then pulls the internal ripcord to spark the fuse. Because the bomb detonates a few seconds after the fuse is ignited, requiring the user to swiftly throw it then seek cover from the blast, its operation requires some degree of safety training. VBWF. Similar in basic construction to those used elsewhere, this friction fuse hand grenade is the official standard within the Imperial Army. Though the time delay until detonation can be adjusted via the dial or screw on the side of the device, most users were hesitant to deviate from the timing that had been drilled into them in training. The Edelweiss. Designed and constructed by Asara's late father, Timer, this tank's 360-degree rotating turret, fully automated loading system, and other innovations completely revolutionized tank technology. Built to be operated by 2, Welkin mans the guns and issues commands to Asara, in control of both the wheel and wireless radio. Despite its age, it was among the first to use angled plating and other emergent concepts, yielding high performance from an early test stage. Its high cost was all that precluded its mass production. Light tank. Though originally developed before the outbreak of EW2, these tanks saw considerable use throughout the war, taking the stage just as tanks began to see use as highly mobile units able to work in conjunction with troops on foot. This model came to define the epic. By the beginning of EW2, however, they had begun to show signs of age and were outclassed by Federation counterparts in terms of frontal firepower. There's your weapons. Glossary. The Principality of Gallia. Full of nature and rich in ragnite ore, Gallia borders the Empire to the east and the Federation on its western edge. This small Central European nation is a constitutional monarchy, ruled by House Randgriz, the hereditary sovereigns of Gallia. The first ruling ancestor of the house, revered as the legendary hero of the ancient War of the Valkyria, built a castle on the site of what is now the capital city Randgriz, establishing it as the seat of Gallian rule. Despite its size of only 38,567 square kilometers and a population of just over 430,000, it boasts a rich and unique culture. The official currency is the ducat, so I was right about the DCT, and it is characterized by policies of armed neutrality and universal conscription. Gallia's history. The nation was formally born in the 3rd century, when Castle Randgriz was built and rule over surrounding areas began. When the Empire invaded Gallia at the turn of the 19th century, the king renounced his crown, instead ruling over an autonomous region within the Empire as Archduke. But as democratic movements swept Western Europa, the Archduke harnessed that energy in Gallia to push for freedom from the Empire, resulting in the War of Gallian Independence. Stretched thin between multiple fronts, the Empire was unable to maintain its hold, and a small nation rose as the independent Principality of Gallia, declaring neutrality and establishing a system of universal conscription. The topography. With the sea at its north and west, and thick forests shielding it to the south, Gallia is naturally fortified against invasion, historically allowing it to repel even significantly larger foes. Hilly plains cover 60% of the nation's land, and its mountains contain a rich store of ragnite ore, a valued source of energy. Large cities dot the flatlands to the north, while the rest is largely occupied by lush farmland. Gallia enjoys a temperate oceanic climate with little variation in rain levels throughout the year, and the soil is highly fertile. Because growing conditions for livestock and grain are equally favorable, Gallia practices a mixed form of agriculture. Brule. This small town lies on the imperial border at the eastern edge of Gallia. Windmills stand atop the crests of many of the region's rolling hills, but few are as large as the so-called Sister Mills, built from an old castle tower in the heart of town. Because it radiates out from the mill, Brule is also known as Miller's Home. The town supposedly began as a hideout for Royal Guard soldiers who'd revolted against the king. Perhaps an echo of that, this town of just under 8,000 nonetheless has an active town watch, and brewers are famed for taking pride in guarding their homes themselves. Exports include dairy and bread made from locally grown wheat. Randgries itself. The capital of Gallia since its days as a monarchy, this ancient city has the longest history of any in Europa. The city takes its name from the ancient war hero who founded it, and began rule over the surrounding area, the ancestor of today's House Randgries. Surrounded by castle walls stretching 1 kilometer in diameter, the entire city stands as a citadel and contains the seat of Gallia's politics, economy, and culture. Castle Randgries, home to the Archduke, marks the iconic heart of the capital. Its single magnificent tower has been likened to a unicorn's horn, giving rise to the national crest that bears the likeness of the mythical beast. Military HQ. The Gallian Army's central base stands amid a wooded area at the outskirts of the capital, known informally as Fort Amatriane, in honor of General Amatriane, who was responsible for restructuring Gallia's military and establishing his facility during EW1. Within its walls lie the Army's command room, offices, training grounds, hangars for weapon storage and maintenance, and other military facilities. It also holds living quarters, a mess hall, infirmary, and a relaxation lounge for the soldiers themselves. Even R&D work on inventing new weaponry takes place in an on-base facility, with mechanics and engineers hard at work there around the clock. The Great Vassal Bridge. This massive iron drawbridge spans the Vassal River, which flows into Lake Graz near the walls of Castle Randgries. The bridge has its origins in the late medieval era, when it was built with 2 towers at either bank as part of a ring of defensive installations around the capital. A 19th century renovation saw it made into a retractable drawbridge with a unique accordion fold design that allowed it to be operated by extending and retracting a single pair of cables. The city of Vassal grew out from either side of the bridge, prosperous in its role as a transit gateway between the Gallian capital and the outside world due to its key position on both ground routes and a series of canals connecting it to the North Sea. Europa itself. As a resource-rich part of the largest landmass in the Northern Hemisphere, this land has inspired those with dreams of domination for millennia. In ancient times, the Valkyria managed to unite Europa under their rule, giving rise to a number of kingdoms. Subsequent divisions arose as influential leaders within each of the kingdoms chose to splinter off to form new nations, and it was not long before the first campaigns of conquest began. By the 1800s, the balance of power lay split between the East European Imperial Alliance and the Atlantic Federation, with the small nations and their shadows left to weather the waves caused by the clash of these two behemoths. The East European Imperial Alliance. A conglomerate of nations united under the rule of the East European Emperor, commonly referred to as the Empire. The Industrial Revolution that occurred when Ragnite was discovered as a useful energy source saw the nations of Eastern Europa, pioneers in machine technology, rise to power. Already tightly bound by a network of marriages amongst their royalty, these nations now joined hands in a formal international alliance. While not technically an autocracy, the Emperor enjoys limitless authority within the alliance. The Empire retains customs and practices held over from medieval times, and its people are known to harbor conservative views including a strong hatred for the Darksen race. EC, the European calendar. This calendar, used across Europa, has at its origin the Valkyria conquest of the continent. For this reason, it is also known as the Valkyrian calendar. Each year is counted in the relation to the year the Darksen people were subdued and Europa was united as a continent. Years predating the unification are denoted as BC, or before conquest. That's some line to draw. The First European War. Friction between Federation and Empire surrounding Ragnite resources escalated into a continent-wide war, EW1. The Industrial Revolution of the 18th century led to skyrocketing demand for Ragnite, pitting Europa's twin giants in a race for resources. When the Crown Prince of the Empire was assassinated at the start of the 20th century, tension spiraled into all-out war. Though the Imperial force employed a corps of newly developed tanks, hostilities soon became bogged down in fruitless trench warfare, and the two exhausted powers ultimately signed a ceasefire agreement. During the war, Gallia's military, led by General Belgian Gunther's tank corps, foiled an Imperial invasion attempt. Second War. Beginning as an Imperial incursion into Federation land, EW2 quickly engulfed the entire continent in what became the largest-scale war in Europa's history. Though EW1 ended a stalemate, both powers had spent the intervening years stockpiling arms and preparing for the inevitable return to hostilities. After a short 20-year pause, the Empire began the invasion anew, taking 3 of the Federation's border republics in quick succession. The Federation responded with a formal declaration of war. It wasn't long before the forces of both superpowers began to spill across the borders of other neighboring nations. Soon, all of Europa was caught up in a war that dwarfed all those in memory. Universal conscription. One of Gallia's national precepts states that all citizens are eligible to be drafted into service in times of war. Enacted as a way to enforce the position of armed neutrality adopted after Gallia won its independence, the law prescribes a 3-stage draft according to need and applies to men and women alike. Schools of each level offer mandatory military education, and all citizens are required to graduate from middle school, meaning all Gallians have basic training in combat skills. Universities double as officer training schools, and graduates are eligible for the rank of lieutenant upon enlistment. The Army. A standing self-defense force serves to uphold Gallia's position of neutrality. As every citizen receives basic military training, most of Gallia is also guarded by independent watch groups, and defensive preparations are made on a town, neighborhood, and household level. In times of peace, Gallia's army is made up of 80,000 ground units, 10,000 marine units, and 2,000 military police units in addition to the autonomous town watches found across the nation. When at war, a militia is drafted from the civilian public and assembled under that standing force, called the Gallian Army. Officers from the Gallian Army are assigned to lead militia regiments and battalions as necessary. The National Arsenal. As the nation's only arms manufacturer, the National Arsenal both develops and constructs all of Gallia's weapons. Seeing the production of arms as a part of national defense, leaders elected to end weapons importation and founded a new domestic arsenal during EW1. This also helped keep weapons technology and plans from leaking to foes. Professor Timer, creator of the tank that war hero General Gunther operated, was a major player in the arsenal's initial staff, matched only by Bernhard Brundle in skill. Brundle, who rose to lead the arsenal, is said to have amassed his considerable knowledge through close friendships with a number of talented Darkson engineers. Tanks. At the turn of the 20th century, a time when trench combat was the primary form of warfare, these armored vehicles were created to break across defensive lines. Their design employs a Ragnaline fuel combustion engine, in which energy is harnessed from the explosive ignition of liquid ragnite. Byproducts include a distinctive blue light and extreme heat, requiring the addition of a radiator at the tank's rear to prevent overheating. Originally used to cross trenches and as foot soldier support, economic and technological advances have seen tanks grow to fill a number of combat roles. After the Empire employed highly mobile attack tanks in EW1, all of Europa began to develop new vehicles, leading to the diverse array of models seen today. After the Empire employed highly mobile attack tanks in EW1, all of Europa began to develop new vehicles, leading to the diverse array of models seen today. Ragnite. As Europa's primary energy source, this ore has become vital to daily existence. It luminesces a characteristic blue hue when releasing the energy it contains. Mined primarily in mountainous regions, the raw ore is then refined for use in any number of applications. Though the ore's existence was known in ancient times, it was not until the Valkyria brought the refinery technology to Europa that its use began. Since the Industrial Revolution, it has become a vital ingredient to human civilization. A surging need for tank fuel and weaponry derived from the ore has recently driven Europa's nations to expand their borders in a growing war for resources. Uses of Ragnite. Depending on the refinery methods used, Ragnite ore can produce various forms of energy suited to a spectrum of needs. Refined into liquid Ragnaline, it can fuel lamps or power vehicles, granting it a broad range of civilian uses. Its military applications include tank fuel, an incendiary agent in flamethrowers, the explosive payload in hand grenades, and countless others. Medical scientists recently learned that the ore also acts as a painkiller, developing a controlled disinfectant and restorative agent known as Ragnade. New properties and applications for the ore continue to be discovered daily, and few doubt that this resource will only continue to grow in use and value. Lion's Paw. A perennial plant found across Gallia, near and dear to the hearts of many as a sort of informal symbol of the nation. Distinguishing characteristics include small, white, star-shaped flowers and seed tufts often carried off by the wind like tiny snowflakes. Its leaves spread close to the ground surface in clusters, with stalks bearing the plant's flowers at their center. As an exceptionally hardy plant, they are known to thrive even under adverse conditions, weathering times of extreme hardship to bloom again the next year. And there is the glossary. Let's go to HQ, some new stuff's unlocked. Look at all this. So we have XP to spend, we have a bunch more money. We'll see if we've gotten any upgrades, but let's take a look at the new places. Castlefront Street. Read the writing on the wall, published regularly.
Hey, Lieutenant! Off duty today? Your timing's perfect. There's something I want to show you. Won't take but a minute. Come on. Ta-da! It's the writing on the wall, written and published by yours truly. Why do this when I already have a radio news gig, you say? Sure, I could leave it up to the print news guys, but they're all lapdogs. The government censors everything. And not just a little cut here and there. In some cases, they'll bend the harsh truth into candy-sweet propaganda. I'm so sick of it. I want to give my readers the truth. That includes the bad stuff, too. So, this is my brilliant plan. The writing on the wall. Some things are only possible in out-of-the-way spots like this, out of sight from those government goons. I'll keep this space filled with up-to-date, absolutely factual info. No censorship. And your exploits will feature heavily, I'm sure. So yeah, come by and have a read sometime.
Hey, look at this. So she gives us topical information and can sometimes unlock new features of our characters, like those descriptors. So, signs of Gallian resistance. In an interview given on the 8th, a spokesman for the Central Gallian Armed Forces suggested a massive anti-imperial counterstrike brewing. Should this come to pass, all eyes will be on how a force that is thus far specialized in retreat can stem the imperial incursion that claimed most of Gallia by last month's end and now stands before the gates of Randgrease. It seems the militia will join the army proper on this bid to free the capital from a siege, a fear that has persisted for weeks now. Some suggest that this move is due to the army's desire to conserve its own manpower for combat within the city's walls, a very real possibility should this plan fail. Next, flames of war sweep Europa. The Empire-owned and run Terra's news outlet reported on the 6th that Imperial forces have claimed the coastal Federation city of Valua. Is that a wink? Because that was the Imperial city in Skies of Arcadia. If true, the Empire would now hold a supply route for Ragnite transit, greatly influencing their standing in southern Europa. Unlike the northern provinces, Europa's south lacks for Ragnite, meaning that supplies must be shipped in from elsewhere to sustain the Empire's offensive. The Empire's hold on Europa's southern coast means expansion of the conflict to all areas of the continent is more likely now than ever before. The Federation has yet to issue a statement regarding the Empire's alleged seizure of Valua at this time. There's our update.
And while you're here, I want to put a book out someday, right? To put the truth in the hands of the people. But I'm just a radio news grunt, you know? I'll be paying for everything out of my own pocket. So, I figured I'd ask you. Think you could find it in your wallet's heart to help a girl get started? I'd make it worth your while. You guys could feature in the book I write. I still haven't decided what all I want to put in it, but I promise it'll be all about you. See this fat stack of notes? I've got a ton of material already. So how about it? Call it an investment in the future rising star of authordom. Please.
Ellet Embedded. That piece is on the members of Squad 7. Yeah, I'll fund it.
Thanks a million.
So do I get to read that?
I plan on putting out new editions periodically, so drop by to check it out often. Especially after you've made some headlines on the battlefield. That's the perfect time to strike. I'm counting on you out there, Welkin. You need to keep me supplied with exciting material.
Do I get to read that? Is that a new thing, or will that come later?
Hey! Dropping by to read the writing on the wall? That's a good man. Oh, and how about the new rising star of Squad 7, huh? I've heard some wild stories. You must be proud.
I think that means that at least one of my characters had a little aspect of themselves unlocked.
I couldn't help but snipe him with a pop interview. You'll have to read it once I get it all drafted up.
Yeah, that's a hint.
So, come to make a donation to the Get Ellet's Name on a Book Fund? Come back and see the writing on the wall again soon. I'll be waiting for you.
Yeah, let's see who the rising star is, just out of morbid curiosity. I'm gonna go back to book mode for just a second. Well, a new episode, of course. A new report has been added. Personnel. Yep, see? This is how it works. Aisha. I guess because she featured heavily in the battle. So you can't level individual characters up in the battle, but stuff like this is what gets the work done. So we've already read the first paragraph. It's kind of all one paragraph now, but we could read another part. She paired the fathomless curiosity and energy stores of a child with impressive physical agility and intelligence. Back home, people called her Girl Genius. There you go. Got it. Now back to HQ. Although I said a new episode unlocked, which is a little weird to me, but we'll get there. War Cemetery. Places, the resting place of people who have fallen in battle.
Paying your respects? Sorry. I suppose that was a foolish question.
Actually, no, sir. I'm not here visiting anyone in particular.
Oh. Then might I ask what brings you to a place like this?
I find it sobering, standing here in front of all those who died in the last war. That and seeing this much death reminds me that humans are just another part of nature.
Don't suppose I've ever heard that before. Judging from your clothes, you're militia.
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Welkin Gunther. I'm in charge of Squad 7, Regiment 3.
Gunther. I see. Squad leader. Very impressive for a young man.
Not at all, sir. I'm still woefully inexperienced. One wrong order from me and my squad could wind up here. It's a huge responsibility.
You respect the weight of their lives. Here, let me teach you a special order.
Yeah, this is why you come here.
An order, sir? I'm sorry. Who did you say you were?
Just a leftover from the last war. I'm afraid my orders require some experience, though. I can't in good faith teach them to those who lack the maturity to use them properly. Now, let's see. I'll teach you retreat today. Use it to command an injured unit to pull out of combat. Well, what is your decision?
It'll cost more XP than I have to learn that. So this is another way of spending XP. But you can get commands in combat. This is why I'm going to want to grind in the skirmish. I can't even be taught it. I'll say yes to see what happens. Nope.
I see. I suppose it was too soon for you. I hope we'll meet again. Should you wish, you can likely find me here.
Yeah, the mysterious aged gentleman is the command guy. But this is why you go to the cemetery. But now I can otherwise spend my XP on my troops and money on upgrades. R&D, anything new?
Welkin, bro!
Nope. Sometimes, though, individual guns will pop up, so it is worth scrolling through all of them, just to see. That's it. I could save my money for a little while. Edelweiss, though, I could spend money on that, because there was stuff I could have done before, but didn't. And there's new options anyway. More HP across the board. Body defense. Anti-armor rounds, just upgrade the gun. So, you know, you got your gun, your body, and your armor. Let's pump that gun some more. Although that's very expensive.
All set for you, bro. It's done.
Let's just go ahead and do reinforced body.
All set.
And armor. Let's just knock level 1 out of the way.
All set for you, bro. It's done.
Well, now I have a steel upgrade. Considerably more expensive, but it pumps my defense even further. What about treads? Spare tread, radiator upgrade. Attack and support. Sight upgrade. Yup.
Here you go.
Oh. A new piece of equipment. Bulletproof visor. Yeah, why not? Let's just put it there. Treads. This is gonna just be all my money. Spare tread 1.
Here you go.
Let's put the spare belt in here. This is obviously going to matter more later, but for now it's just easy. Radiator upgrade. Hardened plate. Very simple upgrades. That's just it, right? Oh, whoops. Steel upgrade is now out of reach, but that's pretty good. That's all that I can do with my money.
Come back again soon, bro. I mean it, man.
Now, I would like to learn retreat, but I would also like to upgrade my squad. See, it's already getting to the point where I need to learn how to budget.
Welcome to your worst nightmare, maggots! Train all you want. I've got all day.
Now, what if I upgrade 3 things at the same time? Actually, no. Can I do all 5? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do all 5.
I got no use for
Okay,
tears.
whatever. But everybody's happy.
Good work, maggot. Looks like that session beat a new potential out of the scouts. Looks like that session beat a new potential out of the lancers. Okay, you've earned clearance for a new order. Put it to good use out there.
Defense boost. There you go. Yeah, we're looking pretty good right now. But we could always use
Come
more.
back anytime.
I don't know if I necessarily have any new people in the squad. Oh, this isn't where I go for that anyway. Command room.
Hello, Welkin. Here to fine-tune your squad? Oh, and there have been some new recruits.
Ah.
You should take a look at the master list.
Hermes and Wavy are new. Oh, Darkson Bond, in this case. Brethren close by helps him out. Hermes, claustrophobic, interesting. And fancies women, I'm assuming you power up when you're near them. Better accuracy, sure. Claustrophobic, drop an attack power. Otherwise, is that it? Or is it just by class? No, that's it. They just happen to both be scouts. But okay, Hermes and Wavy. Good stuff. You know what? I'm gonna hold on to Carl.
Good luck with...
Hi, I'm Alex Raymond. I look forward to serving with you, Welkin.
Okay. This will probably be good.
Come back anytime.
Yep. Now, we spent a ton of time doing all this exposition stuff. So why don't we finally actually do a mission? Oh, personnel's been updated again somehow? That's fine. Oh, of course. Hermes. As a child of the open field, he dislikes cramped spaces. Slender and handsome, he's physically unable to not chat up any nearby ladies. Wavy. Considerate and polite to a fault, this Darkson schoolteacher rarely displays his emotions. And then the aged gentleman. A frequent visitor to the graves of his fallen EW1 comrades, this doleful gentleman has begun passing his learned orders down to Welkin. Well, we'll get there. It said new episode, but... like, what if I go to select episode? I can't go past this. I guess it just says it the one time. So let's finally do the skirmishes, if you can believe it. And we got... oh, individual challenges. Yeah, this is DLC stuff. Susie's challenge. And I can't go past this, actually. Oh, Jan's challenge, Marina's, Eddie detachment challenge, Eddie her own challenge, and Homer's challenge. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. But let's do a skirmish. You can grind this out. Outskirts of Brule. Easy or normal? I'll try normal. I'll save when I start so I don't
Here's
die.
a brief on the task at hand.
We've received intelligence reporting Imperial activity in the area. This is your starting position. Sweep in quickly and drive their strike force back. Your objective is to occupy their base camp. Good luck. So just run in there. Don't let Welkin die. And don't let the base camp get occupied. You know, the usual. Alright, position units. Alicia. And Rosie. Let's go.
Now, let's begin the operation. I'm confident victory is within reach.
Let's drive these Imperials back out of Gallia! Squad 7, move out!
Alright. Alright, let's save, because I haven't done that in a ton of time. Alright, let's select Rosie.
Don't go out alone.
Oh, 3 shots. I think I'm good.
Go down!
Get wrecked, buddy.
You're doing well. Just keep it up.
Alright, back to Rosie. You like my superior grenade, buddy?
Man down. Everybody be careful.
Alright, now let's go with Alicia. Let's squeeze in a little bit of extra AP.
Stay close up there.
I am getting scratched up. I don't like this. But now I should be good.
Tighten up perimeter defenses.
It's actually better that I don't attack this guy, because if I don't kill him, he gets to counterattack. Alright, back to Alicia. Not enough, buddy. Done.
Operation complete. We took their base.
There you go. I can do this as many times as I like. It's not very lucrative, but you can grind away, eventually getting what you want. Of course, there'll be more skirmishes available later, though. This is basically a tutorial skirmish. Hooray. There you go. Let's go back to headquarters and talk to, Ellet, just in case anything comes up.
Hey! So,
Yeah, guess not. Okay.
come back and...
I guess I'll just do a bunch of skirmish attempts in order to be able to talk to the aged gentleman. But for now, it is time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today, didn't we? In our own way. We got a whole bunch of exposition and lore. We checked out Castlefront Street, where we can get topical information, as opposed to what's in the main history book, which is general information. We also went to the cemetery, where the aged gentleman can be found and is ready to teach us new techniques for an experience cost. And we took a look at our very first skirmish. Not very hard, not very lucrative, but it is possible to repeat it, and so that's going to be how I gain XP and gold for a little while, at least just to catch myself up to the current mission. Until next time, everyone.